Disciples. There was a gap of a month in the mission's itinerary, and Pops was praying, asking the Lord how he wanted them to use that time. On Friday morning he had been praying and reading his Bible as usual when a scripture in the Acts of the Apostles jumped out at him. In a vision, Paul saw a man asking him to come over and help them. The man was from Macedonia. Acts chapter 16, verse 9. After breakfast, because it was Friday, Pops drove to the Christian Fellowship School to speak in their assembly. As usual, he popped into the office to talk to Daphne, the school secretary, a beautiful Christian lady, but someone that even Pops was careful not to mess with. "Ah, Dave, I'm glad I caught you." Immediately, Pops was 14 years old again and in the headmaster's study preparing for the worst. "I've had a letter from my friends in Bulgaria," she continued, asking if I know anyone who could go over to help them with an evangelistic campaign this summer. I immediately thought of you. "Is Bulgaria kind of where the old Macedonia used to be?" Pops asked. "Yes, it is, Dave. Well done." Pops had got his answer and a merit star from Daphne. Daphne had met her friends, Ivan and Stella, 2 years previously when she was smuggling Bibles into Bulgaria before perestroika and when communism had still got a grip on the country. Every morning and evening she had trained herself by walking to work and back with a rucksack full of books and 2 suitcases, one in either hand, also full of books. If she looked suspicious struggling with heavy suitcases full of Bibles through Bulgarian customs, she would certainly have been detained and the Bibles confiscated. But who was going to stop a sweet lady well over 60, excited to discover some of their lovely country? She had also had to learn Cyrillic script and to memorise all the addresses of her contacts because in case of arrest, she must not have any written information on her that would endanger her contacts. Pops can now only remember 1 or 2 things about the actual mission, like driving through what was then Yugoslavia and being surprised how clean and well kept everything was. Even the tractors seemed to be polished regularly. Tito was still in charge, and compared to the rest of Eastern Europe, it was a pleasant surprise. There was utter chaos on the Bulgarian border, hundreds of trucks, cars and trailers all competing to scramble to get through a single gate. Terry, a friend of Pop's with his family, was heroically trying to manoeuvre his car and caravan so he could remain close to the back of the trailer and Pop's, who had all the documents and, most important, all the food. Driving through the suburbs of Sofia and looking at the endless regiments of shabby high-rise flats, Pops felt sorry for the thousands of people who were living there. When he mentioned that to Stella and Ivan, they explained how, when they had first driven through the same streets, they had been incredibly happy because they had now at last got a home of their own. The Lord spoke one morning to Pops, saying that in the evening the Lord was going to open the eyes of the blind. Pops mentioned that to the team during the prayer meeting and then, of course, forgot all about it. At the end of the evening meeting, when people were milling around, others being helped and others being prayed for, suddenly there was a shout from the corner of the marquee and 2 sisters carrying a picture book came up to Pops. "Look, my sister can see. She was blind, but now she can clearly see all the pictures in my book. She can see, she can see." When the mission had finished, there was a good number of new Christians, but no one to look after them. Pops mentioned that to the team. Mark, a young Irishman whom Pops had only known for a few weeks with the mission for the first time, immediately said, "If you think I can do it, I will stay behind and do my best to pastor them." Pops was deeply impressed by this young man, who was willing to give up everything he had back in the UK and live in a foreign country amongst people he had yet didn't know, another true disciple of Jesus.